Today's lesson is on writing fractions as decimals. First, we're going to write the fraction as a decimal, and then we're going to see if it is terminating or repeating. So for number 1, we have 3/5. We're going to use division to convert this fraction to a decimal. So we're going to divide the numerator, which is 3, by the denominator, which is 5. So we have 3 divided by 5. 5 cannot go into 3, so we'll go ahead and put our 0 above the 3. Now we need to add a decimal and a 0 behind the 3 so we can continue dividing. We need to go ahead and put our decimal in our answer so that we don't forget that that decimal needs to be there. Now we can divide 5 into 30, and 5 goes into 30 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. And now we subtract and we get 0. Since we subtract and get 0, we have nothing to bring down. We are finished with this problem. So our answer is 0.6 or 6/10. So 3/5 equals 6/10. Since this decimal stops, we have an end to it. It is terminating. Now let's look at number 2. We have 1/8. We're going to use division again. And we're going to do the numerator, which is 1, divided by the denominator, which is 8. So we have 1 divided by 8. 8 goes into 1 0 times. It cannot go into 1. So we're going to put our 0 above the 1. And now we need to add our decimal and our 0 behind the 1 so that we can continue dividing. We need to put our decimal in our answer, and then we'll divide. Now 8 goes into 10 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. Now we need to subtract, and 0 minus 8 we cannot do, so we'll borrow from the 1 and it becomes a 0, and the 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. Since we still have 2 left, we need to continue dividing. So we'll add a 0 and we'll bring it down. 8 goes into 20 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. And now we subtract 20 minus 16. 0 minus 6 we cannot do, so we borrow from the 2 and it becomes a 1. And this 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. 1 minus 1 is 0. We still have 4 left, so we need to continue dividing. So we'll add another 0 and bring it down. 8 goes into 40 5 times. And 5 times 8 is 40. Now when we subtract, we get 0. Since we have nothing left and we do have anything to bring down, we are finished with our problem. So our answer is 0.125 or 125 thousandths. Since this decimal stops, it is also terminating. We're going to continue doing a couple more problems where we're writing the fraction as a decimal, and then we're going to see if it's terminating or repeating. So for number 3, we have 1/9. So we have the numerator, which is 1, divided by the denominator, which is 9. So we have 1 divided by 9. 9 cannot go into 1, so we'll go ahead and put our 0 above the 1. We now need to add our decimal and our 0 behind the 1 so that we can continue dividing. We'll put our decimal in our answer by bringing it straight above. Now 9 goes into 10 one time, and 1 times 9 is 9. We'll go ahead and subtract. 0 minus 9 we cannot do, so we'll borrow from the 1, and it becomes a 0. Now our 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. We have 1 left, so we need to continue dividing. So we'll add a 0 and bring that 0 down. Now 9 goes into 10 one time. 1 times 9 is 9. And we go ahead and subtract. We can't do 0 minus 9, so we borrow from the 1. And now we have 10 minus 9, which is 1. We still have one left, so we continue dividing. We'll add our 0 and bring it down. 9 goes into 10 one time. 1 times 9 is 9. We subtract, and again we get 1. You should notice by now that we're going to continue getting a 1 when we divide. So this would be considered a repeating decimal. We're going to write this as 0.1, and then we put a little line over the 1 to show that the 1 repeats. Now let's look at number 4. We have 5/6. So we'll have the numerator 5 divided by the denominator, which is 6. So 5 divided by 6. 6 goes into 5 0 times, so we'll go ahead and put our 0 above the 5. Now we add our decimal and our 0 behind the 5 and continue dividing. We'll go ahead and bring our decimal straight above for our answer. 6 goes into 50 8 times. 8 times 6 is 48. And now we need to subtract. 0 minus 8 we cannot do, so our 5 becomes a 4 when we borrow, and our 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2, and 4 minus 4 is 0. We still have 2 left, so we should continue dividing. We'll add our 0 and bring our 0 down. Now 6 goes into 20 3 times. And 3 times 6 is 18. And now we need to subtract. 0 minus 8 we cannot do, so we borrow from the 2 and it becomes a 1, and our 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. We still have 2 left, so we need to add our 0 and bring it down. So now we have 20. 6 goes into 20 3 times, and 3 times 6 is 18. When we subtract, we're going to get 2. Notice that if we add a 0 and bring it down, again we would have 20, and when we divide we again would get 3. So now we can see that our 3 is repeating. So this would be considered a repeating decimal. We would write this as 0.83, and then we put our line above our 3 because our 3 repeats. The 8 does not repeat in this problem, so we do not want to put the line above the 8, just above the 3, because the 3 is what repeats. Now we're going to use a different method to write the fraction as a decimal. So for number 5, we have 4/5. Sometimes we can convert the denominator to either 10, 100, or 1000, and that will help us write the fraction as a decimal. So for number 5, we could convert the 5 to a 10 by multiplying by 2. So we're going to start with 4/5, and we want to write an equivalent fraction or an equal fraction that has a denominator of 10. We said we could go ahead and multiply by 2 to get 10. If we multiply the denominator by 2, we would also need to multiply the numerator by 2 to keep it equivalent. And 4 times 2 is 8. So 4/5 is equal to 8/10. We can write 8/10 as a decimal because we know that 0.8 is 8/10. So 4/5 is equal to 0.8 or 8/10. Now for number 6, we're starting with 7/50. We can convert this 50 to 100 because we can multiply it by 2. 50 times 2 equals 100. Since we're multiplying the denominator by 2, we also need to multiply the numerator by 2. 7 times 2 is 14. So 7/50 is equal to 14 100ths. We can write 14 hundredths as a decimal because that would be 0.14, because 0.14 is also read as 14 hundredths. So 7/50 equals 14 hundredths. And now for number 7, we have 3/20. 20ths. We can write this as an equivalent fraction with 100 in the denominator because we can multiply 20 times 5. 20 times 5 equals 100. We can go ahead and multiply the numerator then by 5 as well to get our equivalent fraction. 3 times 5 is 15. So 3/20ths is equal to 15 over 100, or 1500ths. We can write 1500ths as 0.15. 0.15 is read as 1500ths. So 3/20ths equals 1500ths.